Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Joshua Ross. I'm one of the enrollment managers here at Fourth Rev for the LSE Data Analytics Career Accelerator. Really excited to have you here. You can already see some engagement in the chat. And really excited to talk today with our AMA guest, Manasa. And Manasa is going to be joining us shortly. After I give, I should say, a bit of a brief overview regarding the Data Analytics Career Accelerator. But Manasa is currently completing the Data Analytics Career Accelerator with us. She comes from an engineering background. And so beyond analytics, she brings extensive experience in quality assurance, software testing, and data management. So she's a results-oriented professional with strong leadership skills. And we're really excited to talk to her today about her experience and importantly, engage with you, the audience, and allow you to ask as many questions as you would like of our guest. So there's a few things to consider here. We can see you're all engaging in the chat function. See where you're all located around the globe. Welcome. But importantly, note the difference at the bottom. There is the Q&A function, which you'll see, and that is where you post your questions for me to then ask Manasa later in the session. So please, if you do post in the chat, we're going to ask you to post the question again in the Q&A. Don't be scared. The quicker you start getting your questions in, the better. And of course, we will look to prioritize questions that are relevant for Manasa whilst we do have her for a limited time. But again, really excited. So for those of you that are unfamiliar with the data analytics career accelerator with the LSE, just at a really high level, what are we about? Well, we're a careers first program. What that means is that we're really focused on helping you achieve your intended career outcome. So we go well beyond just the certificate or the academia, when we really focus on a holistic approach to supporting you and having real world impact. So in terms of the types of people that do our program or this program, very, very varied in terms of actual professional backgrounds, but we have people that are either looking to transition into data analytics as a career path, and you might have had some exposure to data, limited exposure. It could be just like Microsoft Excel, but you see and understand the importance of it and see great career opportunities. So you're looking at a career change. You may already actively work with data analytics in your current role, and you're looking at progression within your current career. So combining current skills with then the new skills you obtain in the program. And we also have people at the beginning of their career that are looking to start and see data analytics as a very fruitful and rewarding career path to begin in. Good to see there are some questions here in the Q&A function coming along already. This is great. In terms of how we actually would assist you in achieving your career goals and that holistic nature that I spoke about. Firstly, there's the design of the content. So this program has been led and designed by the LSE, top 30 university in the world, top 5 UK university, and their academic rigor, their critical thinking, their problem-solving skills are combined with the best of the professional world. And so for this program, Tableau and GitHub have collaborated with the LSE together to make sure what you learn is practical and industry aligned. And that's really important. If we previously look at a lot of the options that would be available to you, it's often either pure academia, let's say a master's or a bachelor's degree, or maybe more of a shorter course or a professional certificate without that true combination. So it's really exciting to see, and we'll talk to Manasa about this in terms of the impact that's had on the actual quality of the content and the relevance of the content. And as an outcome, of course, you'll receive a certificate of completion awarded from the LSE, so you can clearly highlight and demonstrate that you have studied with the LSE. Now, QS University rankings, which are one of the largest in the world, this changes yearly, but the LSE's global employer reputation ranking is 93.1%. So essentially, how do employers view individuals that have studied at the LSE? Literally one of the highest in the world. And so, as a part of that jigsaw, all the pieces that you're looking to have to give yourself the best opportunity to achieve your outcomes, the importance of demonstrating you've studied with the LSE is really valuable. Up until the beginning of this year, the certificate was a certificate of completion. We now have a formal pathway to a postgraduate certificate with the LSE. So if you were to complete the 6-month career accelerator and elect at that time or in the future that it would be important for you and useful in your career to do further academic study with the LSE and get a formal postgraduate certificate, we actually have that formal pathway, which is the very first time that the LSE has ever done that, which is really, really exciting for you. So alongside in terms of the development of the content of academia and industry and the certification that you receive, importantly, with that holistic approach, we also provide executive style career coaching, and that happens from the outset of the program. We look to embed it throughout your entire learning experience so that whilst you are focusing on the actual learning outcomes, you're also very clearly in front of mind working on what that actual professional outcome is for you as a part of completing. Alongside that, we talk about working professionals, and average age of our student is 35 on this program. And so again, we'll talk to Manasa about this in terms of her story, but working professionals, juggling family, the fact that this program is completely online and digital by design means that you can make this meaningful impact on your career alongside your other commitments. It's not easy, it's not designed to be, but it's 6 months and it's a bit of short-term pain for long-term gain ultimately. And the difference potentially between where you are now and where you want to be is taking that action and committing to a program like this that can be the conduit and the pathway to your intended outcomes. Finally, it's all project-based learning, and that will culminate in a digital portfolio of evidence. So again, allowing you to showcase to employers, whether it be your current one or some in the future, different ones, it's your capability to storytell, visualize, explain what skills you've obtained, rather than say historically where you might receive a grade sheet. It's great, it's a good accomplishment, but how does that translate to employment? Quite often there's a gap there. So you can see in summary some of the ways that we look to support you holistically. But importantly here, I'd really much rather get Manasa on and actually you guys can hear from her perspective the actual impact that it can have. So once again, great to see we've already got 10 questions in the Q&A. Brilliant, keep it going. And I would love to welcome Manasa.
Hi, Josh. Thanks for
Welcome.
having me. Thank you.
I did give a brief overview of, I guess, who you are, but if you'd like to, in your own words, who are you?
Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Mansa. I am a broadcast engineer currently working for a broadcast company. Prior to this, I've worked as a tester, as a QA analyst. And currently, I have recently finished my program last month and I've got my final grades. So, all done. And now for the major part of it, where I'm looking for roles, new roles as a data analyst. So, yeah, that's how it's been. Like the last 9 months has been a roller coaster ride, and the big plunge has been finished, but then the second one is in progress.
Yeah, you've got two pathways, right, that are working alongside each other. It's very much when you're in the thick of things, it's actually learning the skills and applying it to the project to actually complete. But alongside in the back of your mind as well, working with the coaches, it's the actual career outcome that you're looking for as well. Um, for clarity, we are able to personalize the support dependent on circumstances. So if you dependent on your background and if it is realistic, we do have students that look to obtain employment prior to completing, and that is possible. Others, for example, Manasa, you focus on the content, you're still doing some coaching, but the end goal is what upon completion you really then ramp up that coaching as well. So we've got the flexibility there for you. Let's jump into some questions. I've got a few I'd like to ask, and we'll kind of jump around between the Q&A and some other questions. But firstly, so what actually inspired you to shift from a broadcast engineer and now want to go into data analytics?
Well, like I said, while I was doing testing, then I moved to UK and I started working as a broadcast engineer. And then I had my son in 2022. So I was on maternity leave and I was going through randomly going through Instagram and things. And then I've been looking at posts where there are courses around data analytics. And for me, I have always enjoyed SQL and a bit of dashboards and analytics. I mean, I haven't actually worked on it, but SQL and all I have before. But dashboards and analytics and all has always been fascinating. So then I have come across the course with LSE, which I think I looked at it for the while it was being advertised with the previous cohort than the one that I've joined. And I was still debating if I would be able to do it because I have a small kid and I'll be joining back work. And I wasn't sure of how I'm going to manage all the logistics. But then by this cohort, I think I was like, okay, let me just try. Let me just at least speak to people and see how the course is, how long do I have to study for it and all of that. So I think once I've started speaking to people at Fourth Rev and the way they've explained it, and there's the way they explained how other people managed it around things, I felt a bit confident, like, okay, I probably could go ahead and try it. And I think within a week of having that conversations and all, I was like, okay, let me just dive in, see how it works. Because I was told, like, with the baby, we know how difficult it is, and there is an option of in case of severe circumstances, you can still pause your course and restart it again. Because for me, like 8 months was like a very long time. I don't know how things are going to be. I wasn't sure of things, but that gave me a sense of security. Like, okay, I can still pause it if I have to. I know it's an extreme circumstance, but if it still has to, I can still do that, come back and finish it. But luckily I could finish it off in a single go. So yeah, so I think having prior knowledge of couple of things and that zeal to just try something new just pushed me there.
It's interesting you said there. So, and we experience this often, and I guess I flagged it a bit at the beginning about the difference between potentially getting to where you want to and or being stuck where you is not taking action. You spoke about originally seeing the post and then it being a little while before you actually decided to book a time with an enrollment advisor. What was the main catalyst for you that decided to book the time? What changed?
Like I said, I have been pushing it off for a couple of, like, I think 3 months is when you have each next cohort starting. So I think I've seen it before, but then I was like, the baby's too young. I'm still like looking, and I don't think I'll have enough time. Because for me, the main reason was, would I be able to put so much energy into it while juggling all the other things? But surprisingly, I know I was joining back work and somewhere it got stuck at the back of my head, like, I have to try this, I have to do this and make that change. Because we always have something or the other always happening in our lives, and there's never just a red carpet put there for us to walk and finish things off. So I was like, okay, it's let me just try. I mean, I know I'm investing time, I know I'm investing money, and the main reason I felt I would do is because, okay, I've paid so much, so I'm sure I would try and finish it off. So yeah.
Great. Yeah. And well done.
Yeah,
No
thank you.
easy feat to complete. And again, juggle the commitments that you have. Every cohort portion of that would be mothers currently looking to return to work or within work as well. So we are pretty well equipped to support that type of individual. Um, so then, when you started the program, did you have a clear goal in mind, is in terms of career goal, or did the program actually help you refine the end goal for you?
Frankly speaking, when I began the course, it was like, okay, I know that I'm doing this course. I know probably I'll end up in a role called data analytics. And I've spoken to one or two of my friends who were in similar roles. And okay, they were like, okay, yeah, you're going to use SQL, you're going to use Tableau, you're going to use Python. This is all what they're teaching you. So I kind of had an idea of what might be used. But then I remember in the beginning of the course, we are given this questionnaire as to answer where you're introspecting onto what you actually want. So when I began the course, in my head, it was like, okay, I'll get a job saying analyst. But then while going through those questions, even in the initial phase, it was like, oh, okay. I remember they were like, what is important for you? Is it money? Is it flexibility? Is it having that time? So there were multiple questions where they were asking us again and again, so that you have to think as to what you actually want. And that was a surprise for me because I didn't expect. I thought probably you will just start the course, study, finish, and then you'll. I know they said we have career coaching. I thought in between we'll have those. But these questions in the beginning were really helpful because you start thinking as to what actually matters for you, which I don't know. I was in that person who would actually spend some time thinking through all of this because we are busy with our own everyday lives and we don't have that time to sit and think what is important and what you actually want in your next step. So those things actually helped a lot, and I remember those documents that we presented then are something which our career coaches use later on, saying, okay, that is what, because while we are filling that, that's when you're actually spending some time thinking, and then you probably might forget in 6 months that, oh, you wrote this is what is important for you in the beginning. So they go back to it saying, are you still there, or do you want to change something from what you were thinking 6 months? So I think these things actually do help.
Yeah, brilliant. Brilliant that you highlighted that, because in the thousands of calls that I've done, and now the team that I manage have done, it's whilst career coaching is a really popular feature of the program, there can be a bit of a misconception as to what it actually covers. And we always look to try and talk about the fact that we are looking to empower you with the skills and tools you need to achieve your unique goal. So the coaches don't sit there and find jobs for you and tell you to apply for company A, B, and C. It's much deeper than that, as you spoke about, and that's critical. And those skills that you obtain from the coaches are then lifelong, right? When you think about your
Yeah.
employability skills, and that's for us more important in the long run. But great that you did highlight that. Um, I want to talk a little bit more, I guess, about the program. And again, great questions coming through. Love the volume. We will be getting to those very shortly. Um, the challenges of the program is, as we spoke about, it's difficult. Um,
Yes. But then you will finish it because you have so much support around. I know
Yeah.
I can go in depth with that. The first thing is we've been told it's 40 hours, 20 hours, depending on the course that we are doing, the subjects that we are working on, and all. Surprisingly for me, it always took more because I was juggling a lot of other things. But also, I was able to finish most of them during that week because it usually runs in a weekly schedule wherein you are given some topics are released to you where you study, you start your assignment, and then you could go back to your facilitator, ask them questions and all of those. So there were, I think the first I mean the first module was when I was on top of it or a bit behind, and then I was like, oh my god, I'm behind, I'm not able to like finish off everything by the time the facilitator is actually discussing it. So the second course, I thought I'll be on top of it. I'll try to read through the materials and then ask better questions, understand it better. But then within by the second week or so, all of us in the house fell sick. And it was so bad that at one point I called up my success manager and I was like, I don't think I'll be able to finish my course too. Like, do you think I should just postpone it to the next cohort and all? And I have to give a shout out to her because she was always supporting throughout my course. And I don't know how many meetings I had with her because either I was panicking or I wasn't sure of what's happening. How do I finish my course? Like, even to the point, I'm like, I still have 3 weeks of content to go through properly and I have to start my assignment and all such things. So I mean, Danny, she has always been very supportive and was there to like, it's okay, you can finish, she would say. And she's like, oh, you know what, these are the main topics which if you really want to just finish it off, get to the assignment, do it. And then there's a bit of gap between each course, each module. So she was like, you could just read through the rest of them during that break, you'll still have time. So there are difficult situations, there are difficult topics because some of the topics, all of us, there's a WhatsApp group created for the cohort where we would discuss, and some of the students were so helpful. They would just they if because it's all different for each one of us. Some of them were fully into the course, they were just doing the course, and they were on a break or things like that, and some of us were juggling things. And I remember that we even had people who were like, I think they were about 50, 55, and I was shocked in the beginning because for me it was like doing the course at this age was like I was thinking, do you, how helpful would it be? But then seeing them do it at that age, I was like, wow, it was really inspiring. So yeah, coming back, there are times where you still have to spend a little more time than the given mentioned thing, but yeah, end of it, you will finish it.
Yeah, it's only temporary, but it's what we always recommend there, and you're a great example is I guess really, especially in the early stages of the program where you are incorporating something new into your routine, it can be overwhelming. You can have unexpected things happen like illness, but don't suffer in silence. And you've spoken and given a great shout out to Danny, who's one of our great success managers for a very long time. By actually just talking through what you're going through allows us to support you as best as possible, rather than compounding the issue because you're not actually reaching out. So certainly utilize that support if you are someone that ends up doing this program, and really have that mindset of fully investing as best as you can. There's a lot of questions coming through, so I think we'll start jumping into these to get the most out of your time. There's a couple of questions on eligibility, so I'm just going to quickly talk about that, and then Manasa, there's a question that you can answer. But there are three pathways to gain entry into this program. If you have firstly, it's an academic pathway. So if you've studied at least a bachelor's degree, and that bachelor's degree or master's or whatever it is has at least 1 unit of quantitative studies, so anything to do with numbers. It can be research methods, accounting, finance, statistics, etc., etc. That would deem you eligible. If you don't, you can gain entry via professional experience. We look at least 3 years of experience dealing with data to some extent. That does not mean you have to be a data analyst, but again, you might use Excel in your role or Tableau, Power BI, whatever it is. And if you don't meet either of those criteria, there's an aptitude test. It's 30 minutes. It's multiple choice. It's focused on logic, probability, statistics. And if you can get 50% or above, then that will also deem you eligible for the program. So there's three pathways. Manasa, do you recall how you gained entry?
Oh, because I had prior work experience and also I did math in my undergrad, so both
Cool.
of these.
So there's a question here in relation to then if anyone who doesn't have a background in computer engineering or coding, but as a business developer or in marketing, would it be possible to join the course? Or should I get any knowledge from any courses first? So again, for this anonymous question, bearing in mind there is the entry criteria. So if you don't meet any of those, then you look at the aptitude test. But Manasa, in your experience, what do you think is the baseline skill that would be useful for someone to know in preparation for doing the program?
I would say, like, Frank, I do not have any prior coding experience. Like I said, bit of Excel, yeah, I have used it. I know what pivot table, like a bit detail. I know what it is, but I haven't actually used it in like my everyday life. But SQL was something, I think SQL is something that I felt easier in the whole core subjects that we have done because I have used it before. Apart from that, Tableau, Python, R, none of it is something I have read or used, know about before. So, in spite of all of that, I was still able to understand what they're saying because none of it is very difficult that you should have prior coding experience or know what it is. It is all something which you can develop because they start from very basics of it while you're studying, so you can still pick it up. And then if at all anything is not clear, I'm sure you will have your co-students who are very helpful, because I had that in multiple instances where any question it is, even like, oh, I don't, it's just Excel and I can't just find this button on Excel. And then you'll have five people telling you, oh, just don't worry, it's somewhere on the top. You just have to click this, and you'll find it. From there to having to code in Python and R, which was, as you go, it gets tougher. That's how we all are learning. So we are literally stuck there for like good half a day, not understanding where we have gone wrong. And you will have people come back and help you out saying, oh, yeah, I had this problem. I had to wait the whole day trying to resolve. And also, apart from the students, we have circle where we could post our questions and the facilitators would come back answering, and also other cohort members would help you out there. So on the baseline, I think as long as you understand a bit of analytics as to what you are trying to get there, you can just build upon things.
Yeah, well summarized. And from our perspective, we talk about like learn a bit about pivot tables in Excel as a baseline. You don't need any prior coding knowledge or experience in any other areas. We start basic and do quickly progress into more complex areas. But as we can see in terms of the volume of people that complete the program with little to no coding experience, we are set up and designed to support individuals like yourselves. It is more important, I feel, in that instance, is making sure that you have the time to dedicate to give yourself the best opportunity to complete. Also, team, with the volume of questions that we have, you can see there's a little thumbs up button below each question. You can engage and interact with that and upvote. So happy if you do all start upvoting and there's certain questions that are more popular than others, then we'll happily focus on those as a priority. But next question was what did you wish you knew earlier before joining the program?
Um, I think for me, I would say the amount of time it would take, because like I said, it was mentioned like you'll need XYZ amount of time, but sometimes some topics, I think it depends on how you're trying to study as well, because I had colleagues who said, oh yeah, we finished it in one day, and some of us took like 2 days to go through the whole thing and all. So it's just understanding. And also we were told to make um jot down times where we could spend and be um strict on to sitting down and studying. So these are all the things that we were told in the beginning, which kind of helped. But then, yeah,
Mm.
as life happens, things get a bit mixed up, and then you won't be able to spend so much time. So that, and I think understanding how to navigate through the career coaching, because in the beginning, in spite of you guys telling that okay, we are not going to find you jobs, you're not going to give you uh hints as to okay, do this and it'll work, because that's not how, it's not one shoe fits everybody. So I think it took me good one or two sessions, one session actually, to understand how things actually work, wherein you have to decide what you want, and based on that, you would be getting suggestions as to what can you do to improve the chances of landing into a job. So I think that's one thing I feel like it took a bit of a time for me.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the challenge. So we talk about and if some of you in here have downloaded the brochure, you'll see there's a recommendation of 15 to 20 hours on average. We always like to advise 20 hours on average, but that's the difference, right? Is some weeks you'll do that. You spoke about some others that have maybe some more experience in certain parts of the program and they do it quickly. So over the life of the program and the sizes, the averages of our cohorts, we talk about 20 hours, but of course it's an average. So it will fluctuate throughout the program. Good question here from Andrew. So what made you choose the LSE Data Analytics Career Accelerator over any other programs that you had researched or have similarities?
Well, I have gone through some other ones, but I think I kind of like the structure and concepts that are covered with LSE, and also I have looked into some other ones where it was for data scientists. So I felt this was way better for me, as to I had a little bit of knowledge. I felt we would need more understanding of concepts if you have to go for the data scientist one. So I was just like thinking between these two, and finally I've picked this one.
Mhm. Okay. So the LSE name, brand, the reputation was one of the
Yeah.
main deciding
Yeah.
factors or differentiators.
Yeah, it is.
Yep. Also, Clara's asked a good question here. So, Clara writes, I believe networking and relations play a big part in our career. Something which I think technology and online cannot offer versus face-to-face experiences. So, how have you made the most of this aspect during and after the program? I mean, you've literally just finished, so you're kind of going through that, but certainly during, what was your experience with the level of engagement or the access that you have to your peers, and also with the coaching, what focus they would put on networking?
Well, it'll be funny because I have gone through my sprint sessions. I've just finished my sprint session as well. And the main thing they emphasize around is networking. But that is in terms of finding a job and things like that. But with regards to while doing the course, we had students from all over the world. And like I said, WhatsApp group chat was the main point of contact where we were talking to each other, and we it was like things from fun stuff to a problem where all of us are racking our brains how to solve it. So it WhatsApp has been the main point of contact for all of us. And also Circle, where we use to post our questions and queries that we have. Apart from that, we did like our team team which we did the employer project with. We managed to go out, meet in person, and I'm looking forward to the LSE event where we will be meeting all the most of the students. I'm hoping who all are at least in the UK would come for the ceremony.
Yep. Yeah, and again, with the caliber of candidate that you're learning with and the diversity of their experience, we do our absolute best with the program being online to still be really engaging and interactive. You've got 2 live sessions per week. You've got circles, which is the student community where you see peer-to-peer support. And also, you've spoken about further WhatsApp groups. You have an employer project at the end of the program. So in the final 6 weeks, you're working in small teams. So you build hopefully strong bonds with the people that you study with in that component of the program. We try our best to give as much opportunity. Again, the onus is on the individual to lean on those networks and engage as best as possible. But I know that when we talk about employment, in my time being on this program since inception, we've seen students land jobs through directly networking with their peers. Now, that's either employment at the company the peers working at, a job comes up and they recommend them, or we've had some individuals that have been running their own business and have actually hired someone from the program through that. So there are those possibilities. I mean, um, the lowest hanging fruit is to start networking, engaging with the peers and connecting with them as best as you can. Given the size of the cohorts can be anywhere now between 100 to 150. Cool. Got some good upvotes here. Lawrence, we'll do a bit of teamwork, I think, on this one, Manasa. But could you please give an overview of the course delivery in terms of the 6 months? Manasa just mentioned that there is a break in between modules. If you could please go over how it is delivered on a week-to-week basis. I'll start just by prefacing. So basically, over the 6 weeks, 6 months, you will start with 2 weeks of onboarding. Manasa can briefly talk about that. And then you have 4 6-week courses that each culminate in a project. So you've got 4 major assessments or projects. Courses 1, 2, and 3 culminate in individual projects that you submit. And the fourth and final project is the employer project, where in small teams, you get given a unique business challenge from a real organization. We have a pool of businesses we work with. For example, at the moment, we've got projects with the Bank of England, and we've done some with ThoughtWorks. Manasa, you can briefly talk to which project partner you were with. And in between each of those 6-week courses, there is a week break, which is a bit of a reset, and there can be some value add masterclasses and that sort of thing incorporated. If you can, Manasa, talk a little bit about onboarding, and then week to week, how does that look in terms of live sessions and that sort of thing?
So like Josh said, the first 2 weeks that we have for onboarding where we were given all the softwares that we'll need, all the data that we have to gather beforehand. So even during that time, I remember some of them had issues as to have to even download a couple of them, and we had support cohort, like other students or even um, facilitators helping us through that process. And once the basic requirement is you just have everything ready before you start, like Excel, Tableau, SQL, everything ready before you start the course. And the first course that we finished was Excel, SQL, and Tableau. So yeah, we were finishing each of the topics for 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the importance. And you would be doing small projects or submitting small assignments at the end of each of these topics, and then which would it is a small mark, but it will add up to your final assignment, which you submit at the end of the 6 week course. So at the end of 6 weeks again, yeah, sorry, I remember the each of these assignments that we do each week. I mean, that is how we are told would be helpful. Would sum up to be the final assignment which you have to submit at the end of 6 weeks. So this actually kind of helps us learn in that flow, wherein by the end of 6 weeks you know what you have been doing and it's all accumulated, and then you just add everything up and then submit it. So, and that's how it is for the first course. However, the second course, it's all Python, so you're just learning on top of everything each week. So you would do each individual assignments at the end of each week, which would again add up to the whole assignment, just polish it up and then submit at the end of the next 6 weeks. And the third week was again Python and R. So it again is based on the second course, what you have learned, you add up onto that and then do the final submissions. And comes the final employer project, wherein all that you have learned from your 6 months is what you would be putting into. That actually was very helpful and interesting, because doing projects as and while you're studying is something like academic level, though it feels as if you're doing actual projects, because we were working on NHS stuff and some supermarket data and things like that. So it kind of felt like, okay, this is how we work in the outside world. But then having to do that employee project gave more sense of, okay, yeah, now you are actually presenting it to somebody, you are actually pitching things. There's an initial pitch, there's a week on week addition to what they ask, then you present it to them, and then they give you feedback. And all of these things actually kind of give you a sense of, okay, this is what is actually going to happen outside. And even if you're talking to a recruiter afterwards saying, okay, I have done a project and done things, you can relate to saying, okay, yeah, I have done these things, where you could show them that you have actually done it with some other employer, rather than saying, oh, I've just studied it there. So
It's impactful in terms of
yeah.
the storytelling. We had another guest on a few months ago, Tim, who launched his business um, as a part of completing the program. And one of his first pitches to get one of his first clients for the business is a large airline company. He actually pitched and presented some of the outcomes that he delivered in his employer project as a part of broadly highlighting the skills that he had for that client, which was a really, really good example.
it
Um,
uh, Sorry. It
Go
actually
ahead.
was helpful, because the bits and pieces, like sometimes you feel like, okay, that's a big organization, whatever you have done, is it even impactful, like does that even matter? But I remember we were actually talking to the CEO of the company, and he actually was interested, and he was like, oh, can I actually see the code? And we were like, wow, okay, that's nice. At least he's interested into looking into what we have done, because it's not just like, okay, we finished it and it's done. And he was telling, and the some of the bits that we worked on, he was like, we actually have clients who are asking us for something similar be incorporated in the project. So we would like to look at the code that you've done, and in the uh so there were two final presentations, wherein one we have told him what we were doing, and then he said, okay, can you do this on top of what you have already done? So I know it's just a 1 week time, but we were trying to like add up as much as you can, and then by the end of it we just couldn't do the whole lot, but we managed to put some bits and pieces of what he has asked, and he was like, oh yeah, that's quite helpful. And we were all like glad that we got to do this.
Great validation for your work.
Yeah.
Gives you great confidence, and that is also it's a difference in some other programs. It's not just a made up case study. You are really
Yeah.
potentially having that impact, but that's a great example of your ability to storytell and the confidence it gives you now as you're
Yeah.
looking to make that next move. Thanks for sharing that. We've got about 15 minutes to go. So again, upvoting is going to be really crucial here. We're not going to be able to get through all questions. There are a few questions that are just kind of program specific that I'm happy to hang around for an additional 5 minutes for people to answer. I want to continue to focus on questions that are relevant, most relevant for Manasa. Now, there was another great upvoted question here from Sam. Kind of, again, I think we'll tag team on this one, Sam. But what risk do you think AI poses to roles which the Career Accelerator will prepare me for? We've done, just to be clear, we've got other webinars on our YouTube specifically around the impact of AI and data analytics. We've recently incorporated some AI track learning masterclasses as a part of the program. So they're kind of value adds around what's kind of happening, current trends in the industry. But just high level from our perspective and what we know is that AI is not going to replace data analysts. You just need to work with AI moving forward as a part of your role. So start to incorporate that skill set. Do you have any further perspective on that, Manasa?
Yeah, I mean, I could tell you examples of how at while we were working on projects, like all of us had access of GPT, Canvas, and all of these. So there were scenarios where, okay, you are not sure of how this works. Okay, what are the outcomes? And then you put it on GPT. Yes, it did. It might give you some uh, relevant points, but we have noticed that it assumes things on its own and gives us something else. And we were like, that's not even relevant. You can't just present it to your client saying all of these things because it's not even relevant. So, yeah, I mean, irrespective of how many different prompts we were giving, things. It wouldn't give out the actual output. So you just sit down and you analyze things and then you make your point around that. So this is something we like, not just I, and then some of the other students have also noticed these things happen. So, and yes, we did attend some master class. I mean, master classes are something which we have for each module, and this is where the LSE lecturers would come and talk through the course. I mean, talk through the concepts that we are learning during that module, which actually is very helpful, because I remember anesthesia is one of the master classes that we attended, and it was really helpful. And the AI sessions, I couldn't attend a couple of them, but I did get a chance to attend just one of it, and it was really good. Yeah.
Great. So there's a question here from Lawrence. Where can the aptitude test be taken? My recommendation is book a time with your enrollment advisor. Manasa made it really clear, right? Like you delayed that, I think, for a few months, but once you had that conversation, that was one of the catalysts to actually take action. We're just here to advise you, explore your circumstances, see if it's right for you. We're not here to oversell or pitch the program to you. So please book it. It's an exploratory conversation. We can understand your circumstances. We can then tailor, further collateral and information for you. So recommendation is speak to your enrollment advisor first. There's a link in the chat. before taking the aptitude test, because we can actually prepare you for it and we can also understand if you could be eligible via different pathways. That would be my recommendation. Back to some of the upvoters. So Rajesh has asked around what exactly does career coaching involve? We've spoken a fair bit about this. So if we think kind of high level some of the areas, but in summary, Manasa, what you've spoken about, really importantly, it's the goal setting and actually what is it that you want to achieve was a big component at the beginning of the program. I guess like a roadmap as well, right? Of what those possibilities are. You've spoken about the career sprint, so you can talk a bit more about that, and of course networking. At a high level, any other things? Because everyone's different, but what else have you
Yeah.
focused on?
So, like I said, like you keep saying, there'll be different students with different requirements once they join this. So, I had a couple of other students in my cohort who actually were looking for a different role in the same company. We had students who were trying to get finish their masters and they just wanted to do this course as an additional boost up to while looking for roles, and there were people like me who were looking for career change. And I remember there was somebody who was looking for shift in their careers at around like 50-55 years, I think so. And I believe one of them was a CEO of a company. He wanted to know because he had employees doing data analytics in his company. He wanted to know what they were doing and he wanted to learn things. That's why he joined. So in that perspective, I think all of us would have different help from the career coach where they sorry, I'm sure you could hear some background noise. I'm sorry about that. uh
I could.
okay.
All good.
They would help you understand what and where you could search for these roles. Like as a layman, you think, okay, I can apply anywhere. I can apply to any company and try my luck there if they would pick me up. But then while talking to your career coach, you understand why you have to narrow down to particular domains, narrow down to particular industries, and how you network with people. What can you tell when you are randomly texting some talent acquisition people in some company? So, and how can you present yourself? So there's something called initial pitch where you deliver to people when you're trying to say what you are, what you have done, and it has to be done in a minute or two. So, from something as simple as starting to tell people what you have done, to how you search for roles, how you apply for roles, how you go through interview prep. So there are quite different aspects they could help you with. And I haven't gone much to the interview prep part, but then I've been doing all of these initial bits before. And the sprint that I have attended, that was a lovely session because for 6 weeks you have people from different backgrounds, not everybody from data analytics course, and see how they are doing. They would emphasize on how you could search or network through LinkedIn, how you could search for roles, how you could apply for roles. And it's not just giving it to you on a platter saying, okay, write ABC on your resume or write XYZ on your LinkedIn. Or it is not saying, okay, just connect with so and so people who would help you find a job. It is about a daily process, what you could do on an everyday basis, which would improve. And from my experience, I can say that it's not like, oh, the first career session we had, and okay, you will be getting a job in the next week. It's you're improving on a weekly or monthly or whenever you have those calls, work on it, change things according to what inputs you've been given, that things get better. So you
Yeah.
will be having sessions where they proofread your CV, they check your LinkedIn. Sometimes I had an instance where while making some changes in my LinkedIn accordingly, I messed up some part of it where it wasn't matching with them. So I couldn't find it out myself, because in my head I was like, oh, I did everything right. So she looked into it. Adil is my career coach. So she looked into it. She was like, no, this is, see, these words are not emphasizing enough the same as what is written in the CV. So there are multiple topics on which they could help you with, and it all depends on what you want your outcome to be.
Yep. Yep. And to reiterate, there's data on this in the brochure. I'm going to get within the right, at least the right 1%. I think it's 86.5%. We had a survey, so 86.5% of the candidates that filled out this survey achieved their intended career outcome as a part of completing. So we are solely focused on achieving this. One of the things we've also implemented recently is outcomes-based career coaching, which if you haven't achieved your intended career outcomes, normally you get 6 sessions. You can, as a part of the program, you can continue to utilize more sessions for a further 6 months post completion of the program until you achieve your goal, permitting. It's obviously realistic, but that's all determined in the goal setting. So we're doing everything we can to give you the support to achieve that outcome, and really excited, I'm sure, in the coming weeks, months to see the impact that it has for Manasa, who's just starting that process. One more question for Manasa, then we will let you go. We're so appreciative of your time. I'll do a bit of a speed round in answering the remaining questions. If people are able to hang around for a further 5 minutes, I'm willing and happy to do that. I appreciate your time. But final question, Manasa, from the Q&A here. So David asks, I understand that there are 2 live sessions per week. Did you feel it was necessary to make yourself available for these? As I might find that difficult at times with family or work balance. So talk a little bit about those. You're muted.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I understand the thought process around this confusion, because for me also, I was able to attend one of the sessions per week, and the other one I couldn't do it because I was at work. But the good thing about it is you always have a recording to go back to and refer it. And in case if you still have any doubts and you're not clear, you could post your questions onto Circle, where the facilitators will come and help you out with the answers. So usually what happens is the first day is where they explain the concept around it, make you understand what uh the whole week you have been studying, and then on the next day you would have doubts around, you would discuss topics around the assignment that you have to do for those topics. And you could always come back to Circle and post whatever questions you have. Also, prior to, if you have already been studying, like I said, we had some of the students who were solely doing the course, so they would finish the week's content before even the facilitate a session. So they would still post the questions on Circle, and the facilitator would know what all questions to answer. And also, in case if you are not going to attend, they give you an option to post your questions prior to the session, so that they could cover all of those questions for you in the session, and you could later look at the video and go through stuff. So
Brilliant.
it's not,
Thank you.
sorry, yeah.
No, go ahead.
So it's not 100% compulsory that you have to attend the sessions. We had lot of students who wouldn't attend the sessions, and they would go back to recordings and just look at them.
Yeah. So at the moment, they're Thursday, Friday, 12 p.m. They run for an hour each. Everything's optional, encouraged. And I'm sure if you commit to the program, of course, your intention is to try and attend as many of these as possible, but they're recorded. You've got the online student community still where you can get feedback from the facilitators. Um, yeah, so I'm sure over a 6 month period, you'll have a balance of attending and watching recordings during that time. That draws us to an end. Manasa, thank you so much. Really insightful. I think it's evident in the level of engagement that we've had that people have been really drawn to your story and appreciative of the insights that you've provided. I will hang around for a little bit longer, team, but Manasa, before we let you go, any final words or advice for someone considering the program?
Thanks, Josh. Thanks for having me. And yeah, I mean, I would just say if you're really driven to changing into a data analytics role or something around that, and you would want to, if you're in that doubt, like, would this program help, or would you be able to do it? Would you be able to give the time, or would you be able to spend that amount? Like, I don't know, probably there's this thing around where you could divide your fees into monthly payments as well. I have taken that, so I know that was there. And if you could do spend that time and all, it's just that push you have to do, you have to take, believe in, and then do it. Because for me, having a 1 year old kid who was running around the house all the time and doing a full-time job and doing this course was definitely hard. I wouldn't say it's easy, I wouldn't say it's not time consuming, you could just spend some time a week and finish it off. No, you would have to still spend good amount of time, like minimum 20 hours a week is around minimum, unless it's easier for you to understand the concepts. It's all worth it. Hopefully, I mean, I'm looking for roles, but like I said, while I was talking to Sam as well, while joining, it gave me a sense of confidence that I can go look out for roles, because I have spent so much studying and doing the course. I've spent so much energy, so much time. I feel confident that I'll be able to go out and find a role because I've done of all of these. So yeah, for anybody
I have
who's
no
still
doubt.
having two minds, go for it. It would be helpful.
Yeah, I have no doubt, and we'll be excited to get you back on again when you do land that role, and we can talk about that, which will be really exciting.
Definitely.
It's the mindset. It's how can you make it happen, which is clearly what
Yeah.
you did,
Yeah.
rather than why you can't. I think that's a
Yeah.
great takeaway to end on. Um, Thank you again. We'll
Thank
speak
you and
soon.
good luck to everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Manasa. Bye bye. So for everyone that can still remain and hang around, I'm going to do a bit of a speed round here of the questions, encouraging you again. Book a time with your EA, Ruan, Niels, and Jackie, the three enrollment advisors, all brilliant and ready to support you. So I'm gonna roll these off and answer these questions succinctly for you. So, hi, I would like to know, would it be possible to be put in contact with companies at the end of the training? Um, Again, it's more around the networking. It's around empowering you with the skills and tools you need to actually understand what are the companies you want to work for, the types of companies, what's realistic and manageable, and giving you the skills to be able to go out and do that. And the coaches will personalize that. Is it companies within your network already? Is there people that you already know? Do you need to expand further than that? So we don't necessarily directly put you in contact with companies as a part of the program, but we teach you how to do that to deliver the outcome that you want. Lawrence, would it be a challenge to learn technical skills such as SQL and Python in 6 months without any background in these software or software engineering? Um, Interesting use of the word challenge. It's a challenge, but it's very much achievable. We have multiple students or a portion of each cohort that gain entry with the aptitude tests I spoke about earlier. Um, a story that comes to mind is Moha. She like just passed the aptitude test from recollection. She got like 51%, which a lot do. She came from a law background, commercial background, no prior experience with anything data related. But as an outcome, she landed a role at Spotify. That was the dream role she wanted. She got it. She doubled her expected salary. And as a part of her role now, she uses SQL, or at the time of landing this role, was using SQL as a way to identify podcasts that break the terms and conditions for hate speech and that sort of thing. So, really good example. There's many others. It is a challenge, but very much achievable. It's not a barrier to stop you from doing this program, but book a time with an EA so we can be, um, sure and have confidence in your circumstances. Would the program be worth it for someone from academia with substantial coding and data analysis experience? I'm asking because my biggest problem is not the skills, but the relevant industry experience. Exactly. We speak to people all the time. You've got the skills, but how do you actually translate that to industry and showcase that to employers? Well, you'll do that with the digital portfolio and the 4 projects you complete. Manasa spoke about the employer project as well, but you'll also combine some of the things that you have completed in academia, the skills that you've had, and showcase them as other projects too. And then it's all about refinement with the career coaches to make sure that you're showcasing it in the most effective way possible. Again, we've had people from that background with similar outcomes and goals that have certainly achieved what they've wanted. What's the best way to organize yourself around the course with a full-time job? Well, I think Manasa explained that better than anyone. Um, it's a commitment and a mindset to how you can achieve it rather than why you can't, and an understanding that you make sacrifices over this time. You get buy-in from family, or the people around you that you need support from over the time to give yourself the best opportunity to complete and utilize all of the great support that is in the program. But the majority of the students, I would say, are working full time alongside this program. How many online classes are there a week? Are they evening and for how long? So they're over lunchtime. There's 2 per week. And then the rest is self-paced learning, but it's still really engaging and interactive with a lot of practical exercises. That would be the best, quickest summary of the content. Andrew, as a 54-year-old, am I getting too old to change career to data analytics? If you jump on our YouTube and look for Elodie Hudson, she's done multiple webinars with us. She's now like a junior course facilitator, academic support on the program too. Elodie was 50 when she did the program, successfully moved out of teaching into data analytics. She had multiple promotions since. She's now supporting on the program. Her story is great. No, you're not too old. I spoke to a 55-year-old the other day who has just decided to enroll as well. Again, book a time with an EA, chat about circumstances, what you want, and we'll give you an accurate indication of if this is valuable for you or not. Getting there, getting to the end. What is the pathway to the postgraduate qualification, or where can I get more information? We will be sending more out. It's starting to be incorporated into the brochure, but it's newly launched. Basically, if you complete the program, the Career Accelerator, and get an average score of 65%, you'll then be able to elect to complete one further academic capstone. So it's another, say, 12 weeks, 12 or 16 weeks or so, of which, so it's another large research project with the LSE. And upon completion of that, you would leave with a formal postgraduate certificate, which is a portion of a master's. So yeah, it's a lot of people's dream to study at LSE, let alone do a postgrad certificate. It's incredible to have this pathway where you can do a program like this that has such career impact and is so practical, but still have that pathway to a postgraduate qualification with a university like the LSE. I know I'm being repetitive, but book a time with your EA. We can talk more about that. Is there a cost to download SQL, Tableau, Python? No, it's all provided as a part of the program. You just need access to Excel. How does the career support differ from other less expensive courses? What guarantee does this course provide in terms of career support? Well, if a program is significantly cheaper, one of the things you need to consider is the cost to run the program. And if a program is significantly cheaper, then it's very likely that it's cheaper for them to run that program. And so, what are some of the things that cut money is reduced from to make a program cheaper? Academic support, delivery costs, career coaching. So it would be the depth of the career coaching. With other programs, it can be that like at the end you get 2 sessions where they'll review your CV and do some really basic kind of fundamental things. We provide a significant and extended amount of career support, executive style career support all throughout the program and afterwards. So in terms of the guarantee, that's our outcomes-based coaching, is that you've got up until a year from when you started to achieve your intended outcomes, and you can utilize as much coaching as you need within that time. We do it that way because we want to make sure that you are committing yourself to putting the work in from a career standpoint, but also that you are landing a role that you actually want. Some other programs that do guarantees, there is a lot of criteria around what you need to do to actually meet the requirements. And one of those things can be the first job that you land or get offered, you must take. And that might not be a role that you actually want to take. So that's how we structure it. But we really do feel we put our, for lack of a better term, money where our mouth is in terms of the support and the access that you have to the coaching to achieve your intended career outcome. Final question. Thank you for your patience. I hope this has still been helpful, this final little component. But how many big assignments do we have to complete? There's 4, 3 individual, 1 group based with the employer project. You complete all 4 or pass all 4. You will graduate from the Data Analytics Career Accelerator. Once again, thank you so much, everyone. So again, book a time with your EA if you haven't spoken. For those of you that have already spoken with your EA and you're further down the decision-making process, you'd probably be aware that 28th of April is our next start date. There's limited placements remaining, but a lot of time to be able to complete your application and start and think about the opportunity cost here. Do you want to start now in April? Do you want to wait another 3 months to July or October? What impact does that have for you? Because if you start now and you take that first step, and towards the end of the year, you're going to be in a vastly different position. So really excited, as per usual, to get a great cohort of students starting in about a month's time, and positive that some of you in attendance will be a part of that. So thank you once again. And for some of you serial webinar attendees, I'm sure I'll see you next time. Thank you all.